He's the best player we ever had.
The biggest sportsman ever in Sweden.
The star of our team.
Extravagantly talented.
If he comes into the room, the whole room is Zlatan.
He doesn't forget that football's entertainment.
One of a kind, and he's outside the box.
A little bit crazy, a little bit arrogant.
He's not the easiest person to handle.
People want to believe that he's just this crazed megalomaniac.
Whatever he thinks about you, he'll say it to your face.
You like him or you hate him.
3 words to describe Zlatan. That's kind of difficult.
Flamboyant.
Strong. Determined. Warm. And he's complex.
Big smile.
Winner. Technical.
Proud to be from Malmö.
Self-confident.
Incredible. Great man.
Weak. Strong. Brilliant.
It was a little bit a conflictive guy. Not easy to manage.
Han ställer höga krav på mig, min pappa. Han sa till mig, du är ingenting förrän du blir något, typ ute i Europa.
Han har inte förtroende för många. Va? Det måste vara rätt ruskigt i den åldern. Man inte har någon som man kan vända sig till. Va?
Vi flyttade omkring rätt så mycket. På ett år kunde vi bo på 2 ställen.
Malmö, the third largest metropolis in Sweden. Vibrant and cosmopolitan, with an economy that's regenerated in recent times. The city stands as a monument to the new Sweden. It's a city notable in football terms for Malmö reaching the European Cup final of 1979. Within Malmö lies Rosengård. This area has a million stories to tell, but one in particular stands out. This is where Sweden's greatest footballer was brought up, where his first steps on a path to greatness were taken. This is the story of Zlatan, of who he is, of what he is, and of where he came from.
I came from so-called, let's say, ghetto, Rosengård, and where a lot of foreigners were staying. Came a lot of fugitives in that moment to Sweden, to Malmö then, Rosengård, where I was living, and for me it was paradise. I had everything there. I had a football pitch, and we were playing football every day.
The environment he was living in, for sure, he had some influence on his way of playing and his way of being on the field, for sure. And I think he have gone the hard way, you know, learned he had to have very, how do you say, sharp elbows, you know, because it was a rough neighborhood he came from.
The personality of people here in Malmö. You always say what you think. You don't care about people liking you or not. We are who we are, and if you like us, you like us. And I think that's the mentality of all of us. And then maybe Zlatan is a little bit more extreme.
I represent Rosengård. Rosengård made me the one I am. I brought everything with me from Rosengård, and I still keep it in me. I am still the one that was raised and grew in Rosengård. And I'm very proud for that. I have nothing to be ashamed of.
Born in Sweden, his father was a Bosniak Muslim, his mother a Croatian Catholic. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was perhaps always destined to be different. But like so many others, football was an early love, and he was soon playing for his hometown club, Malmö.
I played with him in the youth, so it was a little bit crazy then also, maybe even more crazy. He talks in his autobiography about parents starting a campaign against him because he was from the wrong part of town and thought of as a bit rough and a bit difficult. So he had to stand up for himself to succeed.
Some of the leaders with the under-17 team, they had their fights with Zlatan, but that's really a Malmö thing, really, because I'm also born in Malmö, and some of us from my generation of players, we're about the same. You know, people from Malmö, we are not impressed with too many people.
They were all against me. They didn't want me to succeed, And I was foreigner at that time. In Malmö, it was impossible to make it if you were a foreigner, if you wouldn't play in the national team. And even there was difficult. But I broke all the walls. I opened all the doors for everybody that comes out now. And that is different, that has a different background.
Stealing bicycles to make his way to training at Malmö. And I think it's something that even now he's such a big star. It's something that doesn't seem completely incongruous with him and the way he is, because it's that sort of mischievousness to get the job done, that sort of invention to get the job done. So of course he had to stop when he found out one day that he'd accidentally stolen the assistant manager's bike.
It was my bike. Yeah, it's true.
Ulla Jelstad, the second coach, he came up and he said, has anybody seen a bike outside the locker room? It looks like this, that, and that. And I didn't say nothing, of course. And after the training, I said, I think I saw your bike. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I borrowed it for 2-3 days. And after the training, I gave it back, because every training I came to, I didn't put it outside the locker room. I put it like 100 meters from the locker room, so nobody would take it from me.
Today we can joke a little bit, and I think it's maybe when he go to Ajax or something, he send me a little card and say sorry for the bike.
There's several different parts of Rosengård, and the part where he came from is not the worst one by far, but still it's bad enough if you have a low social status and maybe no education. Zlatan himself has not much of an education, so he makes his success through his skills with his feet and his talent for seeing what the game should be like.
He is a maverick because he decided early, I want to be something. I want to be something in football. And immediately when he came here to Malmö, he started that trip.
I brought everything I learned in Rosengård because I had a local team there I was playing for, and the way we were playing there was in our own way. We technical football, we like to dribble, having competition, who can dribble better, who can shoot harder, all the individual things.
He was doing a lot of more tricks and a little bit show off, you know, more freestyle kind of football.
When I came to Malmö, they were like, no, you shouldn't play like that, that is the wrong way to play. But I was so eager, and I kept everything that I did before I came to Malmö and learned the new stuff that I needed to learn. But I never gave up with my things, and that's why I think I am the player I am today. But many were complaining all the time, no, you shouldn't do this, you're such an ego, you're here, you're there. I was hearing a lot of stuff. But I said, I listen, but I don't listen.
Maybe Rosengård is not a ghetto, but it's certainly near something like that. And he lived outside Sweden. He lived in the middle of Malmö, but he was 19 years when he first watched Swedish telly for the first time. He didn't know anything about the traditional Swedes. He lived in a very tough neighborhood. You know, later he met guys who said, nice to meet you and things like that. But in the words, Zlatan grew up, you have to show, you know, look at me, hey, you know, you have to be tough. And that was, I think, his first lesson. To survive, you have to be tough. He lived first with his mother, with his 5 siblings, and his mother was a cleaning lady, and sometimes he hit him with his wooden spoon, and sometimes his mother hit him so hard that this wooden stone broke, and then he had to go buy another one, as it was his fault that and then the mother, because of certain circumstances, lost custody over him. He moved to his father.
När kommer mamma, sa du?
Jag vet inte. Du ringde till hennes mobil.
He loved his father, he loves his mother as well, but back in those days his father was sort of traumatized over the Balkan War. He was drinking heavily, and I think he didn't even see Zlatan. He was just sitting there at the telly, you know, seeing the latest news about the war, and were drinking. So Zlatan was out all day, nicking bicycles, and you know, he was a little thief back then.
He is a good bike stealer. He was.
When he was young, he stole some bikers and he made
with him.
Not with me.
He used to run good from the cops when he stole bikes and, you know.
He was a very fast guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he must trust on himself, and he learned that from Rosengård, because all the people here in this place trust about themselves, and after that, others can do something in the future.
He's a fantastically strong character. I mean, if he comes into the room, the whole room is Zlatan. And that was already the case from the start. I mean, he came in, he's a big, strong boy, and he got into his opinions.
He was ready for a big move from Malmö, and he knew there were other offers on the table, so just no way he was going to entertain a trial with Arsenal.
I had a meeting with Wenger. There was a lot of talks, and I think Wenger said it was a misunderstanding. How I remember it, it was like he wanted to see me in a trial, and my club said no, Malmö at that time, and I was like thinking the same. Either you want me or you don't want me. What am I doing here? I waste time for nothing.
Zlatan's big move did come in 2001 as he joined Ajax, becoming Sweden's most expensive footballer. But his early days in Amsterdam were not always straightforward.
Immediately, he takes control. I mean, he comes in, and here, I'm Zlatan, and I want to be something.
You can see that just the fact that when he came out in the professional world, from Sweden, where he was only known as Zlatan by first name, he changed so he would have Ibrahimovic on his shirt, on his jersey, because he wanted to honor his background. Being from a Muslim background, being from very, very low-key, very low-status background, he really wants to show all the kids at Rosengård and Malmö in general that if I could do it, you can do it.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, toppforwarden, som alltså kommer att spela i Ajax.
I said to Zlatan, if you fuck me, I fuck you.
Man saknar familjen, kompisar. Man saknar det man hade i Malmö.
There is a big stadium, and there are 60,000 people, and you have to show that you are worth 9 million fucking euros. It's not easy.
There's a funny story from about 2001 or something, when he was just going to be transferred to Amsterdam to play for Ajax, his first professional club. And I was working for Swedish TV4 and made a piece where a small kid won a contest on our website to make his own TV interview with Zlatan. Of course, Zlatan was not a world famous hero by then, but he was world famous throughout Malmö. And this small kid sees Zlatan coming out, Zlatan sees him, and Zlatan is so respectful to this kid. He says, "Hello, I'm Zlatan, how are you doing?" They sit down in front of the cameras, and the kid's first question is not, "How can you be such a good player?" that you would think from a kid 6 years old. Instead he says, "Why do you get so many red and yellow cards?" And Zlatan, being a star, maybe he would be offended. But no, he just laughs his heart out and says, "Well, maybe I should just chill a bit." And he really liked that kid, and it's shown out through the interview.
He's the best player we ever had.
The biggest sportsman ever in Sweden.
Technical.
Proud to be from Malmö.
Self-confident.
Incredible.
Great man.
Weak, strong, brilliant. It was a little bit a conflictive guy.
People want to believe that he's just this crazed megalomaniac.
Whatever he thinks about you, he'll say it to your face.
You like him or you hate him?
3 words to describe Zlatan, that's kind of difficult.
The star of our team.
Extravagantly talented.
If he comes into the room, the whole room is Zlatan.
He doesn't forget that football's entertainment.
One of a kind, and he's outside the box.
A little bit crazy, a little bit arrogant.
He's not the easiest person to handle.
Difficult.
Flamboyant.
Strong. Determined. Warm.
And he's complex.
Big smile.
Winner